Hey everybody, Taru here, and today I'm going to be giving a tutorial on how to use your Razer Orbweaver and your Razer Naga in conjunction with Star Wars: The Old Republic. Now, I'm using a Star Wars: The Old Republic Naga. You can also use the original Naga Epic for any other 12 key gaming mouse that you find. So let's get right into it. The tutorial I'm going to be giving I will base on the Guardian DPS. Now I'm going to touch a little bit on some of the healing user interface and key combinations, but I'll go more in depth in another video later. So here we have my basic DPS Guardian user interface. As you can see on the far left side, there's a square over there for the ops frame. Later on, I'll show you the healing ops frame, and you'll see why it's different. Anyways, all right. So I have all my abilities down at the very bottom. That way it's underneath my character and it's centralized to my entire user interface. That way when I'm doing damage on a boss or if I'm running around, I have easy sight of any AoEs or moving mechanics that I'll need to watch. For my healer user interface, I have the same setup. I just split up all of my combat abilities on the left hand side. I have the small 3x4 square is for all my Naga. Everything's laid out just like it is. I'll go into that later. And all my damage abilities in the center right below all of my health information. On the bottom right side, ability bars, those are just for like my vehicles or resting, traveling and all that other stuff that I not frequently used. So let's go back to our DPS user interface. So here you can see the abilities on the action bars as I have set according to the controllers. So on the left side, you'll see in the red square, I have the Naga setup. Now it's set up exactly like the Naga, and I use my Naga just for utilities, with the except throw and my force leap because those are not very commonly used, and I find that they're more frequent than infrequent. All my taunts are on the top row because those are pretty easy to get to. My defensive cooldowns are on the very back. On all of my characters, even cross games like Final Fantasy XIV, kind of have the same thing, where you have your stun break and your AoE stuns, all that stuff I have in the same area. As for the Orbweaver, this is laid out exactly like my UI is set out, with the exception of my WSAD. And I'll show you a layout more here in a few minutes. But the very top row, you can see I have key binded to my alt numbers, and numbers correlate with the keys. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's the entire top row of my ability bar. Now going on the second row, I do have key number 8 for my W, so that's going to be moving forward. My tab is going to be number 6, the far one right out here. That way when I'm moving around and I have to change targets, I just use my pinky and it's really easy to access. So my basic abilities I keep here on the front right around my W because those are the easiest to get to and the most frequently used. Then I go into my rotation, which is basically a circle. So I can hit my overhead slash, master strike, and then so on and so forth, go in a circle. With the exception of my very bottom row, that goes across here. So I have my Saber Thrust, Blade Storm, Plasma Brand, my Heavy Hit, and then my Riposte. The abilities circled in the blue, which would be my Dispatch, Guardian Leap, Freezing Force, and my Kick, which is my Interrupt, I have key binded over here. So this is the analog stick. My back, which is pushing towards me, like the arrow pointing towards me, that's my push to talk for when I'm using Ventrilo or any other voice communication software for the raid team that I'm running with. And then I have my Dispatch, which is up on top. Guardian Leap is forward. And then Freezing Force is down. And this is just personal preference. And then my Interrupt is always right up here on top. Now this is across all of my characters as well, so that way it keeps it pretty easy. And on the right side of my user interface, I just have all my auxiliary abilities, my vehicles and whatnot. Now here's a picture of the Orbweaver. So I have the Orbweaver on the left side, and on the right side I have the same picture of the Orbweaver, but I've put the abilities that the keys correlate to. This way it's a little bit easier if you want to know a good setup. Now the only key that I don't have key bound is top row 4. That's just because I don't have an ability that I use enough, and I'm sure later on, Star Wars likes to come out with new abilities. So it might be something that we'll have to put up there. Now as far as the healing pack, when I'm doing PvP, that's where I'll put my Warzone med pack. For the Naga, it's the same thing. Now for the top 2 keys, and you can see at the very top below the scroll wheel, you have 2 buttons. I use the map button and the inventory button quite frequently, so I key bound those two buttons. And you can see on the side, I have all of my utility abilities at the tip of my thumb. Let's say I'm PvPing, so I can switch out my relic. I'll switch that out with the Warzone damage adrenal. And again, across all of my characters, you have your stun break. I have that still on the mapped to number 4 on all my characters. That way it's the same. And whatever damage cooldowns I have on the back, I'll put that on the back row. That way it keeps it easy for continuity through. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and attack the dummy. And you'll kind of see how the flow is a lot easier and I can move through faster and I don't have to jump around. I'm not trying to go for a DPS right here or anything, so I'll turn aside my rotation. But it's pretty simple. You can see it goes in a good circle right around. I'll probably show mine. Now I want to throw some defensives, boom, boom, taunting, enemies, throw that out there, so it's pretty simple. Alright, well, thanks for watching my video. Go ahead and throw some comments down in the comment section if you like. Thanks for watching.